Soto, we are live, and it's been a while since we talked about the NFL season. This time of year we're both kind of busy, but yeah, here we are.
Yeah.
NFL Week 16
Oh my
is
God, dude.
16 is coming up,
Yeah.
but more
Did it go by
importantly,
fast for you, or was it just me?
say what? Of course, it was fast. NFL season's always fast for some reason, and it gets going. And this has been a weird season in the NFL, not just fantasy wise, but in the NFL. Just
Yeah.
it feels like it's almost anyone's game. And yes, for those who might still be playing fantasy, that means you're in the playoffs, which congratulations, by the way, which we're going to get to in a second. But back to my original thing. Yeah. Outside of the Rams and Broncos, no one, has secured a playoff spot. I mean, a lot of things are still up. Now, obviously, some teams have a better chance and you can see where
Yeah.
it's going. But usually by this time of year, you're seeing two or three in each side. Like, okay, divisions might be wrapped up. So it honestly feels like because there's no powerhouse teams. I know we joke about the Kansas City Chiefs, the Philadelphia Eagles, the past few years, and the Chiefs are officially out of it. And
They sure are.
they are. And I know everyone's like happy and this and that, but I'm laughing because I saw a stat, Soto, and they were comparing Mahomes' first 8 years to Brady's 8 years, and I know people are going to hate this, but do you know the exact same thing happened to Brady? They
Oh,
had the
yeah.
same amount of Super Bowls. Chiefs have actually had more Super Bowl appearances, and it's just hilarious because they're saying the Chiefs dynasty is done. I'm like, well, we'll see. Like I said, but I'm liking it because again, I don't feel like anyone's a favorite. The Rams might be the closest, and Stafford's playing insane. To me, he's actually the MVP. I know it's been Drake May and Josh Allen talk, but I'm like, if you look at Stafford's numbers and what they've been doing, like he's been the top QB in my opinion. But will they
Well,
get?
so
Go ahead.
here's my thing with Drake May, right? Because obviously I just watched the Patriots lose to the Bills. If you remember me having this conversation with you earlier this year, and we were talking about Caleb Williams as well, there's going to have to be a time where these young guys, Caleb Williams and Drake May, where they are in a game that they have no business winning or they're behind or something like that, and they are going to have to will their teams into a win. That's what MVPs do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that watching the last game with Drake May, although I love Drake May, I think he's going to be great. It's like he hasn't been put there yet. And when he has been put there, the results have not been great because obviously those are low success situations to be in. But to be the man and to be that, Mahomes, Brady type, even Aaron Rodgers to an extent, you got to be able to go through those things and like get through them and be like, we shouldn't have won, but we came back, and we came back because of the quarterback play. I think that Drake May still has to reach that next level, and I think that's what's going to keep him out of the MVP thing. I think that had he come back and won, and it was like a shootout, and he was going toe to toe with Josh Allen, who I think Josh Allen had like 4 touchdowns in that game. If he was going toe to toe, then I'd be like, yeah, no, he is up there. But the fact that they lost in that way, I think that kind of paves the way for what you were saying about Stafford, and I think I agree with you on that point.
And there is a stat, and I do agree with you. And like I said, the Bears and Pats have taken two different roads to get where they are at right now. Both of
Hmm.
them should make the playoffs. Pats, based on the AFC, have an easier chance because they also have a game ahead of the Bears. The Bears still need, yes, they're in the NFC North, but obviously, don't get me wrong. Like I did not know how the Bears season go. They've had some miraculous like come behind wins, heart attack wins. But I heard a stat in that Pats Bills game which surprised me, and I was talking to my friend Brian about this, and Drake May in his career. Now, granted, he played what half a season last season, like he, whatever it was, but he has
Hmm.
yet to have a fourth quarter comeback, and that's what
Hmm.
that's kind of like what you said. I'm like, he was put to the test against the Bills. Yes, they got up 21
Yes.
nothing. Like that first half was like all
Yep.
Pats, and you're like, oh shit,
That was
okay.
awesome.
This is when the
Yeah.
Pats are like, they're like, we're tired of hearing about the schedule, the weak ass schedule. Which trust me, I hear that as Bears as well because they had the bottom two up until the last couple of weeks. They're like, they are like, we're putting ourselves on the map. And you see that first half, like shit, they're making a statement, and
Yep.
then Josh Allen does what Josh Allen does. You know, you said it with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is done, you know, seeing the bear, you know what I mean? And Drake
Mhm.
May was a fucking deer in the headlights. I mean, they luckily they had that lead. They, you know, they only lost by 4, which, you know, it was only 4 points, but I was listening to the radio, like that game felt like Bills won 28-7. Like if someone had said the score was 28-7 Bills, you're like, yeah, that's how it felt. You know, because when that second half went. And that's where Drake May is not tested yet. And you like you said, he needs that because he needs to be that. And they need that because when you're in those close games and you believe you can win, it doesn't matter how good you are. It just being in the last second. And I don't know what happened to the Pats. Well, the second half, it's like the Pats are like none of them felt like showing. And I can't put all this on Drake May. Don't get me wrong. I was
No,
watching, you know,
no,
but obviously the
we saw the
QB,
game. Yeah.
but the QB takes the brunt of it. Good or bad, they are the
Good or
they're
bad,
the leader.
yeah.
They so, but you know the Pats as a whole, I don't know what the fuck happened in that second half.
Well,
Uh,
it's the second half was pretty easy. Their defense fell apart,
mhm.
and they were no longer able to sustain. And they were missing a couple key components. But one of the worries that I had about the Patriots as a team all year was that their defense hadn't been tested. And to go back on Drake May, I'm not sure if I would agree that he was a deer in the headlights because on that run that Travion Henderson broke out at the end when they actually went up, he was out there
Oh,
blocking
that was great.
ton
Yeah.
of Trevion Henderson. He was like I've never seen that before with a quarterback being out in front, like in deep into the safety level, blocking for Trevion Henderson. I thought that was fucking crazy. The only thing is that yes, he's not tested, which is true, and that's correct, and he hasn't risen up, but he really, you know, and I'm not saying that Diggs is not a good player, but like if Diggs, you have Booty, you have Mac Hollins,
Mhm.
and then your safety valve is Hunter Henry. So it's like, is that as a group enough to overcome a deficit when you absolutely need to have it? And then secondly, they also just went away. I know that there was that one big run, but they completely went away from the run in the second half and got into a very predictable offense with the passing and all that stuff. So yes, true. With that being said, you know, needs to win in those games. But I think that the Patriots overall as a team, you know, showed some real cracks of being like, okay, now you're in prime time. This is a prime time fucking football team. You know, the Bills and the Chiefs, like that's, you know, we talked about, you know, the Ravens to some extent. We'll find out this weekend. See that kind of like little bit of flicker of life. And, you know, again, it's like his inexperience mixed with, you know, lack of like decent weapons. That if you get ahead of the Patriots late, you're going to win that game. I mean, that's the reality right now.
True. And you can always say about lack of weapons, but we've seen QBs with less do more. And I know
Tom
it's
Brady.
Brady's Brady, but if again you gotta, you know, Brady, you gotta break it into 2 halves of his career. You know, like
Yeah.
that for you know, he won 3 early on, and then they went 10 years, and people didn't think they would get to it again. Then he got Gronk, he got a resurgence, but. And,
And
and
Aaron Hernandez.
even to the extent Aaron Rodgers he never really had like that number one draft pick receivers. You know, was his big complaint in Green Bay. And so, but don't get me wrong, he's a second year. This is really his first full year starting. And yes, that him going down and blocking was great. I was more talking about that.
Shit
I
was
don't know what the
crazy.
fuck happened in the passing game. He just happened. And yeah.
Yeah,
So
you know.
no, I mean, don't get me wrong. They still only lost by 4 to the Bills, who still at this time, even though they're a game behind the Pats, is probably one of the more complete teams. You know, and I say that
Bills,
because
I don't know if their defense is that good, to be quite honest. Like, the Patriots scored like 31 points on that D. Like, and there were times where the Bills' defense was just porous. Offensively, yeah, and I think that I saw the stat where most of their points are scored in the second half, and they're usually coming from behind. So that's their offense is explosive, but I don't know about their defense.
yeah, but that game was a tale of 2 halves. But
Oh, dude, trust me. Yeah, I was like, and my dad was just like, I don't know what's happening, and I'm like, you. At some point, the defense needs to come. Like all the great football teams, you know this, like have defenses that they may not be the best, but they're going to come up clutch in the moments they need to.
mhm.
Even the Patriots dynasty for the 3 Super Bowls the first 3 Super Bowls of the dynasty, and that era, that was mainly a defensively driven team with Teddy Bruschi and Willie McGinnis and all these kind of, and Ty Law, these like classic dudes, and Bill Belichick's defensive scheme, like that was, one thing. And then when they started getting more offensive, then they actually got some losses because they lost to the Giants twice, and eventually the Eagles. That was an offense thing, but yeah, it was mainly defense at the beginning. And I think that to take it to the next level, you got to have a team that can make stops when they need to, and they could not they could not cover the tight ends of the Bills at all.
They couldn't
At all.
But that's why, you know what, Josh Allen has done it time and time again. So, and we'll see. Again, there's 3 weeks left. Pats still have a game up on the AFC East. I don't know who are they playing this week? I'm trying to look it up.
Ravens.
Oh, the Ravens.
They're at the Ravens.
They're at Baltimore, then they're at the Jets, and the Jets should be a win. And then I'm kind of scrolling through this real quick, just trying to find who's their final game against.
Dolphins, who are doing a quarterback change. Tua has been benched. Yes.
Oh, well, it doesn't surprise me. But who are they starting?
Tua's whoever the backup is. I don't even know his name. I never even recognize it. But they're done with I think they're done with the Tua experiment. I mean, I think Tua is not really like a very good quarterback.
No. And I will say this: Bills next week have the Browns, but then the Bills have the Eagles, and then their last game they have the Jets. So outside that Eagles game, so yeah, that Ravens game is going to be huge. Just like because Bills, Eagles, and the Eagles have definitely shown cracks too. So we'll see. I'm loving, but again, going back to what I said, I'm loving the season because it's not like no team is really running away from it. Because right now you look at the two leaders, AFC Broncos, NFC Rams. Would you put money on either one of them definitely winning the Super Bowl? Like you're like,
no.
Or even going, not even winning, going to the Super Bowl. Like they have a good chance. Like I said, the Rams have a good chance, but then
sure,
I'm like, I wouldn't put money on it. And the Broncos, I mean, we've been talking about Drake May, Caleb Williams. Bo Nix has just been, yes, he hasn't been the star of that team. That Broncos team has been mostly defense. But Bo Nix has been doing what he needs to do. Just don't fuck it up.
Yeah.
You know what?
And when you have a good defense, that's pretty much, yeah. I mean, I think there's some Bears teams that got through like that, right?
Oh God, yeah.
Who just had guys who were just like, hey, our defense is great, just don't fuck it up on the offense.
Yeah, no.
Jay Cutler years.
Jay Cutler, Lovely Smith, but Brian Urlacher, but that's why they made a Super Bowl, and they were in the NFC Championship game a couple times too. So the last great era of the Bears. It's been a while. But yeah,
hey, you're currently in one. You're currently at the beginnings of one. So.
It is, but again, as I said when we did this at the beginning of the season, you know what? The Bears have surpassed at 10 wins. They have surpassed my hopes. Now
and
my expectations, and the Pats for you as well. Because again, no one thought the Pats would win 11 games. So I'm like, I'm like, if they had a winning record, it's the right step. I'm like, if they make the playoffs, that's just the extra icing on the top, and right now, yeah, all they have to do is beat the Packers and they got a playoff spot. And obviously, even if they lose, there's other ways in. It's not the end all. So yeah, it's possible, but I want to see what the next year is because this is, Ben Johnson's first year, like Vrabel's first year. You always, the first year is, a lot of people are surprised and it's like, can other teams figure out coaches the second year? Because it's like Matt Nagy. Remember, Matt Nagy took the Bears to the playoffs with Mitchell Trubisky. All right, just remember the last time, the double doink, 12-4. They won their division. Mm-hmm. They were, their defense was great. And then obviously they fell apart. And so, like I said, don't get me wrong, I'm excited. I see a lot of hope and I see a lot of good. That defense has been injured this year. So if they get healthy, I'm like, fuck, the defense could actually get better. And they lead the league in takeaways. And I still think they're not as strong as they have been because of the injuries. So, and Caleb just, you know what? He just needs to, get a little better accurate, but you know what? If they're within at the last minute, you never know. So we'll see. I'm enjoying the season. And we'll see. The playoffs should be so exciting. I can't wait to see these matchups. So we got 3 weeks to go. So,
yeah,
but
it's going to be a wild ride.
But speaking about playoffs, Soto,
yes,
fantasy football, you made the playoffs. Yeah. I gotta. We'll get to my team in a second. Obviously, I didn't. But you also won your first round. You're in the semifinals. I haven't looked at the matchup yet. Haven't had a really chance.
It's against Dorothy Mantooth again. Oh, I think it's our third matchup this year, and I think we've split the season.
Okay.
So we were going back and forth. I think we had pretty much close to the same points all season, without outside of a few decimal points. I think we had the same record too.
He got you by a game.
He
I'm looking at right now.
Yeah, so this is our final showdown. And we'll see. I mean, again, we always say the goal is to make the playoffs, and then whatever happens in the playoffs, I mean, you did your best.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of how I feel too. Like, I'll be happy if I win. Because I think this will be, because I went to the quarterfinals, the semifinals last year.
Correct.
And lost.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna see if I can just kind of get past that little bit of a window. But if I lose, then I can just enjoy football, and I'm okay with that.
That's where I'm at right now.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, if I lose next week, I'm just gonna be like John Cena, like in Gunther's like sleeper hold. I'm just gonna smile
and tap out,
and I'm just gonna smile and tap, dude. Because you know what? I didn't give up. I let go. That's what it is. It's like John Cena did not give up. He let go, and that's what I'm gonna do with my fantasy team.
Yeah, I mean, it should be interesting, especially.
Why?
I
want to watch football, get to enjoy it. I don't want to have to watch the New England Patriots and root against the kicker for the New England Patriots because I'm going against them in fantasy. It's a strange feeling, and I don't like that. I think fantasy is an abomination that I just can't quit.
It is. Good news is the guy you're playing, he's playing no one that's on New England or no one against New England. So, you know what? You can just enjoy your time. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, no, I mean, so I'm like kind of right now, you're right. This is a coin flip. You are favored 51 to 49%. So it is a good matchup. Yeah. He's got the receivers. This is the guy that kind of made it, he's got Puka, he's got St. Brown, he's got like, we always talk about this league. Man. He's got Sutton.
That's crazy.
He's got McMillan as in the flex, so like this guy.
Fourth one, damn.
Yeah, so it was just the running back he had issues with, but he had the receivers. And so going back to the beginning of the season, Soto, when we talked about this, this is the first time I've been in this kind of format because most fantasy football, one QB, two running back, two receiver, one flex, that's like the standard. I know, people mess around. I've heard of 2 QB leagues, which is insane. I'm in my work league has no kickers, which is kind of nice, a no kicker league. But in the one, because this is the first year I've joined your league, 3 receivers and 1 running back. And man, like I already know. I know how I'm attacking next season because I fucked up big time in the draft. Looking back at where I picked and what I picked, and I was like, God. And I know you mentioned that you felt like you messed up a little bit, but the good thing is you picked a couple good guys that could be flex, whereas my team just fell apart, and I made some bad decisions like in the season too, just things that happened. So,
yeah.
Like, I mean, let's put it this way, Soto. You want to have a little fun? Let me just do this real quick for you. So, obviously, I'm gonna let's go back to our draft, which we did live here on the channel. Why? Just because it was fun, and we were like, "Fuck it, why not?" And people joined us. And I even told you beforehand. I said, yes. You know what? I'm gonna take the chance. I'm gonna take Genty with my first round pick. And I even I'm gonna win or die with this. If he doesn't do RB1 or high stats, like I knew I was going to lose, but I said, fuck it. Yeah. Now, Soto, I want to have a little fun here. I kind of looked at my draft real quick, and I want to tell you who I could have taken, and I'll try to be quick about this. And I'm not talking about someone that went off in the following round. These are picks in the next 3 or 4, so these are close picks. I want you to hear the team I could have had, and I want to hear just indulge me real quick. So yes, I took Genty. Now, Soto, I never told you this. Even before I took Genty and I clicked the finalize, I know what I said beforehand. I did look at St. Brown at first. I'm on around St. Brown. But I will tell you this. I was close to taking McCaffrey. I thought about it. I'm like, God, Soto's been so high on McCaffrey. And I said, you know what? Of course. And then I'm like, no. I said I was taking Genty. And but I could have had CMC. Now, all these stats I were before the playoffs. Obviously, McCaffrey's RB1. Okay? That would have been running back set. There you go. Second round, I quit. I took T. Higgins. Now, I'm not big on Higgins, but I felt like, and I was totally wrong with this, that Joe Burrow is going to have a comeback year. Yeah, that turf toe hurt me. So this is my first receiver I took, but I'm like, something told me at that time, like, Bengals are going to go off. They're just going to be a high-powered offense. They don't have a defense. They're always going to shoot it out. Deegan's had some good games. You know who I could have got that was taken kind of right after? Devontae Adams. He's a wide receiver 6. Oh, it gets better.
Oh my god.
Third round, I took Hubbard. Now, Chuba Hubbard lost the job to Dowdle. This is probably I'm like, I should have stuck more receiver, but I'm like, he always got the numbers for me. I've had him in fantasy the last 2 years, and he was a starter. He always got numbers. I'm like, Panthers are going to go to him. But yes, he got injured, lost the job. So, and taking a second running back this high did not work. You know who I could have taken here? Your boy Pickens, wide receiver 3. So,
oh yeah,
fourth round.
Would you have though?
Well, no. I next year. I mean, my plan is the first 4 rounds is to come out with 3 receivers, 1 running back. I'm not taking a second running back, but I'm not done so though. Fourth round, I took Rome because I'm like that was kind of a little biased. Bears. Now Rome had a few, the first game. I did, and he had a couple good games, but he was not. He became my main receiver, but God, yeah, he also had injuries and didn't have some good games. But you know who I could have taken that 2 or 3 spots after him? Egbuka, wide receiver 9. Pickens, Egbuka, and Devontae Adams. Ricky Purcell.
That's pretty fucking good.
Oh yeah, no, it gets funnier. Ricky Purcell, 5th round. Obviously, injury. I could have had Tyler Warren, tied in 5. Charbonnet, I took round 6. Now this is where I screwed up. I took way too many handcuffs, and again, my mentality was still 2 and 2. But instead of Charbonnet, I could have had a better flex than Javonte Williams, RB7. Brock Purdy. I could have taken Ferguson, tight end 3. Then I took because I had my team set. I'm like, I need a tight end. I took the tight end set in. I can't even say his name. Okonkwo. You know who I could have taken instead of him? Who was taking 2 spots after me? Drake May.
Well, I mean, that you didn't know.
Some people did. You take the chance. I'll be real quick. Krosky Merritt, who had 2 games, and this is where I'm like, okay, he's now stepping up. Fell off the face of the earth. Next pick. I could have taken Pitts. I could have had a tight end too. Trey Harris. Who the fuck's Trey Harris? Literally the next pick. Wan'Dale Robinson, wide receiver 15.
Yeah.
Algier. I could have taken Jordan Love just to have a QB backup to Drake May. Then I took Jalen Coker. I could have taken the Houston D. Torrey Horton. I could have taken that Jacksonville kicker. Tampa Bay D. I could have taken another kicker for or Schultz. My kicker last round, I could have taken the Los Angeles defense. So Soto, here's what my team could have looked like if I would have just in the next 3 or 4s, and I get it, we could play what ifs. Drake May and Jordan Love for my QBs. Wide receivers, Devontae Adams, George Pickens, Egbuka, and Wan'Dale Robinson. Running backs, CMC and Javonte Williams. Tight ends, Warren, Ferguson, Pitts. Defenses, Houston and LA, and the Jacksonville kicker.
Yikes.
I wouldn't have had to make a move. I could have just coasted. And I laughed because I was looking he had it, and I do have plans. Like I said, I think not having or ever being in a 3-wide, I was thinking safely, like I usually do in the other one. So yeah, I have plans for the next one, but yeah, I fucked up also because I was looking for a running or wide receiver, because Purcell was injured and Higgins, and I'm like, I need a 3rd receiver. I need someone in flex, and someone offered me Keon Coleman. And he wanted Krosky Merritt. Now, at this time, Krosky Merritt had his first big game. And it looked like he was going to take the starting job. And this is before Jaden. And then I'm like, all right, no, I'll give you Charbonnet. And he took it. And obviously, Coleman fell off the face. And Krosky Merritt did nothing. And Charbonnet actually did decent. So, yeah, dude. I looked at my team, and I'm like, I don't even have the bottom half of my team still on it. I have 4 players. 5 players I originally drafted still on my team. Now, I mean, at the end of the season. And I'm just laughing. I'm like, yeah, I fucked up this fantasy. I fucked up this draft. So, yeah, going into next year, I have plans. Like, I know where I need to go. I'm going to probably stay away from the handcuffs and more towards the end, and only for my back. Like, if I got CMC, get his back up. Or, if you got, like, Hubbard and Dowd. Like, not for other teams or possibilities, just safely. But yeah, the first 4 picks, 3 receivers and a running back. I know, but Genti killed me because obviously he was probably at best a flex. He's not even an RB2 like in two running back leagues.
Yeah.
He had a couple good games. Good game against the Bears actually, which helped me out win. That's how I won early. But then, yeah, the Raiders offensive line, especially with Brock, what's his name, Bowers out. Yeah, he got murdered. So yeah, I failed quickly. So, but yeah, I thought you would enjoy that. What my team could have been, and I could have just sat on that team, not
Our
make any
college
moves,
team,
and
man.
just be like, yep. But that's how fantasy is. I know it's all what ifs, and it's just fun. But I looking at
Hey,
who I
you've drafted
draft.
3 tight ends.
Well, you
Three
can just
tight ends.
yeah, I would have, I mean, again, I was just trying to look for the best option, but Soto, that would have been a tight end 2, tight end 3, and tight end 5 with points. Oh, no, and then
Yeah.
with the flex, you can put in a tight end, your second tight end.
Yes, you can.
So it's like, yeah, but that's the thing. It would have been, it doesn't matter. Just take your pick. And obviously Pitts killed some teams this past week, but
Well, he had the most points of a tight end since like 1997.
damn, I didn't hear that. You did.
I think the last person, yeah, is like Shannon Sharp. I think had more points, or it did that. I mean, it was just you go into your first week of the playoffs, and then fucking Kyle Pitts lights you up. Like, you know what I mean? Or you randomly have Kyle Pitts, and you're like, oh god, I hope he does something today, and he scores you 40 fucking points. I mean, that's the shit that happens during the playoffs, and so that's why. You just got to get there, and then you'll find out what happened. I mean,
Yeah.
I scored the lowest out of all winners last week. Okay, and maybe I lose this week. All right,
But you're
all
still
good,
in it.
man.
You're
You
still
know?
in it.
I went as far as I could. Like it was still relevant to me, to the end. Which I mean, I think is all you can ask for in fantasy. But it's just so fucking annoying. I say this every year. I do it every year, and that's fine. I know you did multiple leagues. I can really only do one. Because it's just such an emotional roller coaster. I feel like it adds stress to my Sundays rather than anything else. My stress to my Sundays, and then stress to my Tuesdays when I have to like try to figure out who I'm going to get on the waiver wire on Wednesday.
Yeah, no, I did have two main leagues because I'm still in my work league, which I don't know I'll do next year. And we'll see but I will say doing the guillotine league was kind of nice.
Yeah.
Because it's a different thought process and it's kind of more cutthroat because it's like you lose, you're just done. Like you could lose first week, like okay, so but you're right, it is playing the waiver up wire, but it's a little different. So yeah, it's a different mentality. So you could, and I think we talked about it. Like you did express interest, and hopefully we can be in the same league. But the Guillotin League is very different. And having done it once, because I think I made it to, because I think it was 14 teams, and I made it to 6th. And it was just, but it's just like you said, one good week or one bad week could mess you up. And I just had a week where I did have Josh Allen. I forget, like, because I had to get a running back, and I felt very Gibbs. I picked up Gibbs. I'm like, all right, I'm feeling good. He's my second bet, and they just both flustered. Gibbs did shit that week. Josh Allen didn't have his, and then it was just like I was out. I'm like, okay, and that's the way it is. I had Allen and Mahomes on my team. I
remember.
I was like, oh, you know what? I can just flip flop. Whoever I want on QB. But that's what it's so weird how strong. But that's the thing. So each week you're worried, because you're like, God, someone's injured. My team might get weaker. You have ways to make your team stronger. You just depend on how much you spend, or how you play it. And then the question is, how hard do you go early on? Because, once it's out, yeah, you can still hit waivers. But, like if you were out of money and I bet $1, I'm going to get that guy over you. So that's the different mentality. But I think it's fun. So I think you can do 2 leagues. But I think Guillotine would have to be your second league because it's a different style. But you're right. I mean, I'm now enjoying my time. I'm like, I'm just watching games to watch games. I'm like, go Bears. They just ran the Cleveland Browns. Watched the Broncos beat the Packers, which made me happy, obviously. And then, I'll do the same, this week. Hopefully Saturday, I'll, watch Bears Packers and probably either be really happy or really pissed off again. But that's just because it's the fucking Packers. So
is it? So it's on the road, right? Like they're in Lambeau?
No, they're in Chicago. They were in Green Bay last time.
Oh,
so this one's in Chicago, and it's a Saturday night game. There's actually 2 Saturday. Actually, tomorrow's game. There's some. Like tomorrow's game is Rams and Seahawks. Like
Yeah.
that's insane, 'cause especially how well Seattle's playing too. I mean, that's you know,
I got the tight end starting on that for the Rams going tomorrow. And I'm hoping he gets 40.
yeah. Again, that's Seattle. Well, you know what? I mean, we'll see because I know your opponent has Puka. Depends how well that Seattle D is playing. Because if Seattle's shutting down the receivers, your tight end's going to go off the short passes. So we'll see.
Well, I think Devontae Adams is going to miss this game.
Is he? Oh, I didn't know that.
So if Devontae Adams misses the game, Puka
Ooh.
becomes one, and then
Well, Puka's always
my
the
tight
one,
end
but that's just
too.
more of a one. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but then my tight end he gets up there. His name is Parkinson. I was able to pick him up off of waivers, and this is like my kind of, it's a playoff move where I'm gonna just bet. Like, I mean, if it doesn't work out, fuck, it doesn't work out. But if he goes off, like, it could be a winning week. So, see.
Yeah. Well, that's all you can do. And like, good thing is, kind of looking real quick, you got Pickens against Chargers. That actually should be good. Williams Mayfield against Carolina. That's a game for first division. So Mayfield is going to go off
Would have thought.
McCaffrey against Indy. So yeah, that Parkinson, your guy, that might be the only iffy one you have. Good thing is Caleb Williams is playing Green Bay, so hopefully they're going to run it more, especially with no Micah Parsons. So we'll see. I mean, he might not score as much, though he has Loveland. So we'll see. I don't know. There's not much more you can do. You just gotta
No,
let
I
it play
can't do
out.
anything. I've done it best I can. Yeah, I mean, I think I kept my team pretty uh stable throughout the year. Outside of a few things, I definitely dropping Rico Dowdle. Would like to have that back. But even with my mistakes in the draft, I mean, my mistake in the draft was honestly drafting Scatterbro. But if he had not gotten injured, it would have been a boon. I would have had basically like another badass running back. And I don't know how he'll do next year, but because that's when I felt like it was the Scatabo pick that I was like, ooh, I kind of should have gone wide receivers. But I'll probably take the same approach that you do, where I'm just gonna fill up the wide receivers, quickly with that value.
Yeah.
And because there's running back value there, and again with tight ends, like I mean, I took Hunter Henry, and he wasn't terrible, but I picked him up in like the 12th round. Like I could wait on Hunter Henry, like in the tight end thing, and I could use that to get more wide receiver depth because, as you famously remember, when we started looking at wide receiver depth, there was nothing there. All of a sudden, it was a desert,
Yep.
and it was like fucking just Thielen, and it's funny because Alec Pierce was actually there. I remember, and I was like, no, Alec Pierce is a boomer bust, and he was great with Daniel Jones. Until Daniel Jones tore his ACL. Now you have fucking old man Jenkins as the quarterback. So I don't know. You're right, man. You never know. You do the best you can. I mean, I thought your Genty pick was pretty ballsy. But if you're gonna pick a guy that high, right, he needs to score like 15, 20 points a game.
He needs to be top 5.
He needs to carry your shit. It's like your team is funny. It's like your team is like the year early team. If you draft this team, not like the same one, but certain guys on this team again next year, I think they're gonna have much better years. I think you get much more value for Genty next year than this year for sure.
Maybe, but yeah, Genty's not going to go first round next year. And it also depends what the Raiders do in the offseason.
No, that's what I'm talking about with value.
Yeah.
You can get him down a little bit lower and be like, okay, cool, he's good there, but you get him in the top 10, and it's like he's got to like Christian McCaffrey for me has been, he hasn't been all there, but he's played every single game. And he has gone off on certain games. He's had his 30-point games that have won me weeks. And he's been a great pick. He's definitely overcome a lot of the weaknesses that I had with mistakes that I made mid to late rounds. So he's covered up some of those warts for me.
Yeah. And even with Jonathan Taylor in the year he's having, CMC still has, again, they're going to the playoffs. He was number 1 in fantasy points. Like you said, you could just slot him in your RB and you were fine. So.
And I need to move him, and he's a great receiving threat. And, so PPR, that's awesome. So he catches and he runs. And, I mean, his floor is like 12 points usually, with his ceiling being like, I think he had like at least 32 points once or twice this year. that I can recall. And so, you take it. Now, next year, would I draft CMC? I probably won't. Because I feel like you get lucky with CMC when you draft it. You know what I mean? And eventually that luck is going to run out because he's a running back.
Yeah.
And he's already shown some injury risk. I mean, next year, if he's where I can pick him, I don't know if I will. I definitely won't pick a second running back right after him. That's for sure. But I would probably go more towards looking for a badass ace wide receiver like a Jamar Chase from the jump, and then work my way backwards. But we'll see.
Yeah, all we can do. We'll do this again next year. I mean, first things first. Let's see if you win it. I mean, who knows? Who knows? But that flies on Charles. Like that scary ass fucking team.
Flies on Charles, dude. I think he lost once this year, and it probably was when he wasn't even trying.
I think it was the last week because I think he was perfect.
Yeah.
I think he was 13-0. I think he just had a lot of guys on bye, and he didn't want to lose it. He didn't need to. Oh, actually, maybe it was the second last week because he played the guy who was last, like Avengers or whatnot.
Yeah.
There's a joke top ever. Yeah. Either way, I don't know what happened. Because obviously once I got knocked out, I was like, yep. I mean, to me, I think even like a week or two before when I officially knew I couldn't win, because I always felt this way. I was like, I'm not going to pick up anyone. There's no point. I always feel like that's yes, technically I know I can. But it's like, why? It's just like, I'd rather have the people. But then again, you can play spoiler for someone. So, like I said, I played my starters who I had. I at least, like I had Rome was injured. I sat him, played like some bum because all I had was bums on my team. So it's like not like I just completely zeroed out, but I'm like I always felt like if you can't get to 500, because usually that's around where the possibility, like if you're one under 500 mathematically, unless one team makes the playoffs, but usually on average you're not making the playoffs. So yeah, I'm not picking anyone up. So I just want to be fair, but yeah, it was interesting. I learned a lot in this one. And I know how I'll attack it next year. And even from beforehand, as far as picking where I want to draft, I want the last pick if possible, like 16, 15, 14. And that's just because I want the higher waiver wire first week, that possibility. So that's my thinking right there. Steal it if you want. That's fine.
You did mention that.
Yeah.
You did mention that.
That's why I was asking, because I was like, some leagues, they do it where it's running waiver wire, which is what we do. And then some, I know, like the very first league, the CVS league, they did it where no matter what, like the waiver wire ends next week, last to first. So you should use your picks because you might not be the last place team, and that way try to make it even. I get both. Yeah. I understand both, but knowing how this league does that, I'm like, yeah, I'll take the 16th pick, and that means I have the first waiver wire, and I can be smart with it. Like, okay, I can do this here. Whereas, you have 7th or 8th, you're just like, well, fuck it. I'll throw darts. If he lands, he lands. I don't even care if it's like a defense. I need a defense. But I think having those first, because then you can kind of see where teams are falling, or someone gets injured. You're like, fuck, I can pick up this wide receiver no one thought to pick up, or this running back. So, yeah, that's my plan. When you got your friend ask, I'm going to be like 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, like, that's what I want. Just last pick possible. I don't care. Right. Because it doesn't matter where I think the way drafts doesn't matter. With snake draft, it's pretty even. Yeah, I know middle kind of was nice, but 16's kind of nice too, picking back to back. So we'll see.
But that's mid to late round, I think is my preference. I mean, I'll probably be like right around that kind of 9, 10, 11 area. Let's see where it goes. I mean, it won't be the top waiver wire, but it'll be close. Almost like getting an extra pick too when you have the top waiver wire. Mm-hmm. Maybe I don't know. I do. We'll see. I have a strategy. I think that I just need to remain focused as the draft goes on. I'll probably do more mock drafts than I did last year, and just kind of get more a feel of where guys are coming in, and who I can get in certain mock drafts, because that kind of helped me, at least figure out how I was going to approach my tight end spot. Not that I won that by any stretch of the imagination, but there were times when Hunter Henry did go off, and it did kind of help me out. So we'll see. I'm never going to draft Calvin Ridley again. That's something that
all right,
it will never happen.
You gotta do me a favor though.
I'm not drafting Calvin
With your
Ridley.
last pick, if everything else, just draft. You should just draft him with your last pick so you can drop him.
If he's there on my last pick, then I promise you I will. But some dumbass will pick him up.
Yeah, most likely because it's a shot in the dark. But yeah, I do it every year. I just look at guys. I'm like, I'm never gonna draft you again. What was I thinking? So, and I do it year to year. So we'll see. But yet again, this year for me, I can wash my hands. I did not make the playoffs in either two of my leagues, so it's just like, okay, I'm good. I don't have to think. This is great. I'll just see how well Soto does, and that's about it. So
I will tell you that as Cam Scatterbro will be watching from the bench. Good locker room guy. He's on my team. I picked him up in the playoff run, and hopefully for good luck. I don't know. I mean, I think having a good locker room is important for fantasy. And so fuck it. We'll see what happens.
if you win, if you pull off the win, because I don't fly zones just looked, but if somehow you pull off the win, you have to next year. If it works out, Cam has to be on your team next year. Like maybe not waste your first pick, but he's there second round, and you don't have the bad. Because here's the thing: I know you said Cam was a bad pick, but that's in hindsight with the injury. Correct. What he was doing beforehand, like the hard part was, and it was also league because you had him, you had CMC, you had Warren, you had Chase Brown, and Chase Brown did a lot better than I think we expected him to. Like hard part is you had so much trade value, but no one took it. And yes, so Scatterbro, I always gotta call him Scatterbro. If he didn't get injured, he probably would still be your flex spot. So and he might help you win some of those early games. So I don't consider that a bad pick. But yes, you had like 4 running. Same thing with me. You just hit it easier, better with your running backs. But the way they're going, you're gonna be like, okay, I need a receiver, I need a tight end. So, but now I know you tried for a couple trades and it didn't work out. But yeah, no, I don't. I think I need to go more top heavy with receivers, and I definitely the handcuff I don't want to think about, except for like if I get like a Bijan Robinson or a CMC, and then their handcuffs like at like round 8 or 9, and
they gotta be
like
sense.
Yeah, so because the hard part with like I said Charbonnet, like when him and Walker split, but it and obviously he did better the second half. But I still think I took too much, in the mid, and I'm like, I should just throw darts at receivers. So, but you know what? We live and learn. So,
you need to mind the value of the wide receiver thing, right? I mean, it's like because wide receivers are starting, right? And the handcuffs aren't even valuable until somebody goes down. Now they will sometimes go down, and you look like a genius, but they're not starters, so they're just dead weight on your bench until something happens. And when I picked up Scatterbro, he was a handcuff. And so, no, I don't feel like the pick was bad based on the results, but I went for a handcuff when I shouldn't have, right? So if that makes sense. Like I didn't need to get a handcuff there. It ended up working out, but it was more lucky than anything because I should not have gone for a handcuff there. I want starters on my bench if I can.
If you can.
Because if you, as you know, you just never know how injuries are going to shake out, and then you're going to be scrambling. Dude, you were like going back and forth between Mac Jones, Brock Purdy.
Yeah, the Purdy thing killed me. I think I started browning.
Well, that's on your team. Didn't you have Gabriel on your team, like as your quarterback in 1 week, or no? No, it was the Houston fucking QB you had.
I was able to pick up C.J. Stroud, and that was so. What happened was this: Purdy went out, and I was like, because again, we have 16 teams in the league, and that's also an anomaly because again, the average is 10 or 12, and because in 16 teams, if everyone has 2 QBs or you're sneaking, you can get that third QB that screws you. Because of an injury, because of a bye week. So I only, again, as I said with my draft, I only had Brock Purdy because I'm like, at that time, like, listen, he's going to be the safest. He has, I don't feel like he's going to win it. He's not going to lose it, injury aside, and obviously injury. But so I know from what I remember, I started Jake Browning because this is before Flacco. I also started Flacco because I needed to. Yes, I was able to pick up Mac Jones, and then because I did not think Mac Jones was going to go off like he did the first game or two. My job was like, it's Mac fucking Jones. But I did pick him up. And then someone dropped CJ Stroud. And I said, fuck, I can pick him up. And he's going to be better than any of these other bums, these other options I have. Which he was, you know. So it helped me out as best I could the second half of the season. But it was almost too little too late. I don't know if I picked up Dylan Gabriel. I might have, but didn't start him. Because there was also like I picked up people just in case, because I know because CJ Stroud got injured a couple times too. So I'm like, all right, if he's injured, I can slide this guy in. Oh, he's playing, good. I can move. So like,
and he went off.
He did, and I mean, unfortunately, the rest of my team didn't go off, but yeah, so I don't know, but yeah, like when you have to take Browning, you have to take a Flacco. Granted, Flacco had that 1 week, but still, it's just like, so yeah, that's another thought I'm gonna have for our team. I'm like, I'm gonna look and like, yeah, I want to get a good QB, like a top 10 QB, depending on when it starts. Once you start seeing that QBs go off the board, that's when you should keep your eye on it. I mean, yes, you never know, but you don't want to get the bottom half. But then I might actually draft a second QB just to be like, okay, different bye week. And I can just mix and match because I do not, again, want to look for a Browning, look for a Flacco, look for a Dylan Gabriel, pick up Sanders, which I know I didn't. I'm just talking about people in general. But, because again, 16 teams, if everyone gets 2 QBs, that's it. But if someone's sneaky and gets that third QB, that could screw you if you only got the one. Yeah, bye week or that injury. And yeah, the Brock Purdy, Ricky Purcell injuries did not help me a lot of the season. When they both went down, I was struggling. I was just trying to frantically pick up anyone and figuring out even receivers.
I remember.
And Coleman took a few weeks and then he had one decent game, but unfortunately, just because I did not have the all-around team, yeah, I think I started. Because we had a strong division. I think I was like at 4-2, 5-2. Like we were all in that area, and I pretty much went on a 6-7 game losing streak. Then I won one. Towards.
It was that. I didn't know that. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Well, because again, if you remember early on, we were talking about because I think again 4-3, 4-2. I don't know where I was at. But somewhere in the middle, I think it was like 6 or 7 games I lost in a row. Because I can't remember. Technically, I think I finished 14. I think I finished 5 and maybe I even lost more than I thought. I can't pull it up now. I think I finished maybe 5-9 or 6-8, but I don't know if I won that last one because again, it had no standings. Neither one of us were going to make it. So I think it was just like I left the guys in, so I don't even know where that went. But I lost a lot in a row, and it just everything steamrolled for me, and I'm like, and with no waivers, what can you do?
That's the biggest thing. It's like your mistakes are magnified.
Yep.
Like big time. Like or your non-action or like the little things. Like you pay for for that kind of bullshit. I mean, I don't know if Rico Dowdle would have made a difference on my team, but there's also weeks where Jameson Williams and his fucking ice cream hamburger eating ass do shit for me, right? So he recently has, now that Campbell has taken over the offensive call playing, he's been much better. And if I could just get him and George Pickens to sync up on a week, I could have 150 point week. But it just keeps going opposite ways. I mean, it'd be hilarious if I could just get Pickens, Jameson, and McCaffrey all on the same page. That would be huge. But yeah,
that'd be great.
Oh, that'd be awesome, dude. I mean, because it's to me, it's win is a win, right? Because my friend was sending me texts and being like, "Hey, you were the worst winner last week," and I was like, "Okay, but I would rather be lucky than good, to be quite honest with you." And that's in poker and gambling. It goes without saying because we can make all the informed decisions. I'm sure we'll draft better next year than we did this year, but then it happens.
That doesn't mean that we're gonna do better just because we drafted better.
Oh, you need to be lucky, and luck is kind of a skill, and you just who the fuck drafted Malik Neighbors and thought he was gonna go out for the season? Did that person make a bad fantasy pick? Like when they drafted him? No, of course not. Just same thing. It just didn't happen to Amon St. Brown. So, or Amon-Ra St. Brown.
I
Like,
know
didn't
what you
happen to
meant.
him. So, it's just a luck of the draw, man. He could have easily torn his ACL and been out for the year. And then that guy's in that position. So yeah, just hoping to be a little bit more lucky next year, and a little smarter.
That's all it takes. But yeah, you know what? I mean, we'll see. You know what? There's not much more I can do, but we
Well,
just
now, no.
well, no, but it's great. I'm just like, again, I'm just gonna turn on football and watch it like Saturday night. I mean, I might watch some. I doubt I need to watch anything Sunday. Depends what me and Joe have planned, but I'm just like, yeah, Saturday night and come home. It's an 8 o'clock game. Like, sweet. And watch it. So
That's awesome.
before we get into some fun, did you have some questions for me? Or did you somehow sneak them in and I didn't realize it? Because let's get into these questions.
I definitely did.
Okay.
I definitely snuck them in. Yeah,
okay.
Just in a natural spirit of conversation. But I do want to ask you one question.
Yeah, go ahead.
And it's not a hard question.
No, I don't mind.
We actually talked about it. We actually talked about it earlier, and it's objective. Right now, we'll put you on the spot.
Okay.
Ready?
Yep.
Objectively speaking, right now, who comes out of the NFC?
Rams.
Objectively, like life on the line?
If I had, all right, I've talked about this earlier, and we kind of mentioned it. The Rams, the way they're playing, the way Stafford's playing, it's hard. And looking at the rest, because even all right, because I gotta think. Don't get me wrong, I love my Chicago Bears, and they're the type of team though that was like the Bengals 3 or 4 years ago. No one expects them, but you know what? The possibility. Green Bay has a strong defense. I don't think Jordan Love's the guy, but they just lost Micah Parsons. I think they lost a member of their offense. So, and it's funny because I kind of got into it with this guy. I was like, if you feel your team's going to lose because one injury, maybe QB aside, I'm like, you're not ready for the playoffs. I'm like, because the Bears have had the most injuries out of any team, and like it's the next man up mentality. And I'm like, you shouldn't rely just on Micah Parsons. You need to build your team. And they're like, blah blah blah. I'm like, I'm sorry, it's true. So if Green Bay really falls down because of Micah Parsons,
they weren't
ready. They weren't ready. Now, again, I've said this. You know what? If Packers, beat the Bears, it is what it is, and the Packers, I kind of expect that because the way began the season. Who else am I missing? Now, if, like I said, right now, life on the line, I would say the Rams come out of the NFC as of this moment. If I had to put a number 2, and this is a funny number 2.
Panthers.
Seattle. Seattle is one of those teams that has flown under the radar. Look what they've been doing. They have the running game. They have 2 running backs. We talked about this with Charbonnet and Walker. We know what Darnold can do. They have receivers. Jackson Smith, the Jigba. I don't know where he ranks in receiver. And that defense is still, it's good. It's a good defense. If Seattle,
they're going against the Rams on Thursday, right?
Yeah. So this is for both. So to me, all right, I will say it right now, the winner. Well, depends. There's a game Thursday and a game Saturday, which could say a lot. I would say whoever wins tomorrow. I would say obviously because I don't know how that. I don't know if Seattle gets the number 1 seed from if they beat. I don't know how that will work. I would say it has to be favored out of the NFC. If the Bears beat the Packers, they make the playoffs. But the way Bears have been playing, you kind of talk about this with the Pats. Like, yes, I'm still worried, but I'm like, all right, they're beating good teams. They're finding ways. They're keeping it close. Their worst, like the 3 losses, 4. They've had 4 losses. 3 of them were within a score. 2 of them came down to the final drive. Blah blah. Actually, 3. Baltimore did. Detroit week 2 was the only game they got their asses whooped. And I remember it was like 56-21.
We were questioning Caleb Williams at that week. If you
we were questioning a lot. Well, but it was a revenge week because of the whole Ben Johnson thing. So, but I also said give Caleb Williams time. Yeah, because we'll see. I don't want to judge on a few games, but I'm just like going back to what I said about Drake May a little bit, like passing the deer in headlights, passing the ball. But they got things settled. Their defense got better. So we'll see. But I think that Thursday's game is going to say a lot. If the Rams beat the Seahawks, it's hard. How can you not say the Rams come out of the NFC? If the Seahawks beat them, yeah, there's San Fran, there's all these other teams, but there's just something about Seattle that scares me. And it's hard, I cannot, see it, but I right now I see the Rams. I think the Rams, because they have the experience. They've been there. Stafford's obviously won a Super Bowl. What was it, just 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago? Math's a little off, but so very recent. Yeah, I would pick the Rams. Don't get me wrong. I hope for the Bears. I hope for a Cinderella story. But if you said, Chad, you got to put $100 on a team right now to come out of the NFC, I would probably pick the Rams at this moment in time. Stafford's playing at an elite level, and he is to me, he's the MVP so far. Now the last 3 weeks can change a lot of things, but they got the receiving cores. Kyren Williams actually is playing a lot better. I remember before draft, I was like, God, I don't want to draft this guy, but running back wise, like, he's actually done pretty well. So, they have the offense. Their defense, as I said, we're number 3. They're behind Houston, and I don't know who so, yeah, we'll see. But I will say this. Whoever wins Thursday's game probably be favored. Then if you look at that Chicago-Green Bay game, that's going to say a lot. Because that most likely the winner, that's going to win the NFC North. I know Detroit still has that possibility there, but they need a little more to happen. And yes, even if the Bears lose but Bears have a tough 3 games. They play Green Bay, they play San Fran, they play Detroit. Bears make the playoffs with those 3 teams. Depending on, they could be like the Giants. They're just riding that wave. So, but no, right now, it's got to be the Rams. I can't. The way they've been playing this, most of the season, yeah. Stafford's. I've always liked Stafford. I was happy when he won. I felt like I'm like, good for Stafford. Good for I was like, yeah, go Stafford. But
yeah,
that'd be my pick.
All right.
What about you? What are you thinking? Honestly,
For the NFC?
Yeah, NFC. We'll get to AFC in a second, but NFC.
That's so wide open. Definitely not the Eagles, for sure. I don't believe in the Eagles at all. I don't know. I mean, look, I don't think the Packers have it either. To be quite honest with you. So yeah, I mean, I could see the Bears. I could see the Bears or the Rams. I don't really believe in Sam Darnold quarterbacked teams. Only because last year.
Mm-hmm.
I thought last year the Vikings were pretty good. And Sam Darnold didn't have a good playoffs from what I remember. So I could be like, Bears or Rams. I could see that. Probably edge to the Rams. You're right about Stafford. He's been MVP level, and that's usually what gets you deep into the playoffs. And the defense has been pretty good too.
Yeah.
Right?
Defense? Top 3. They're number 3.
Yeah.
Fantasy point wise, but
that's good ingredients. They have obviously their head coach is got a lot of experience in Super Bowl stuff and these runs, and so it might be easier. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the Bears make it to the NFC Championship. I think that you guys are going to be like, wow, what a successful season. Like if you fall short, I think getting to the NFC Championship is like, oh my God, how did we got to the NFC Championship? We're there. And then, next year will be interesting because then there'll be expectations.
Correct.
So, and if they don't meet those expectations, there'll be anger.
Look what happened to Jaden Daniels in Washington this year. I mean, I granted Daniels.
He was the thing last year.
Yeah, NFC Championship. And they just, to me, again, the Bears have hit the expectations I was hoping for. No matter what that happens, they have a winning season. I'm like, sweet, because obviously they make the playoffs. If they win a playoff game, that even in that, because I don't know if they'll get the number 1 seed. I know there's that possibility, but even if they win that first one, lose the divisional round, I'll be like, you know what?
Yeah.
They won a playoff game, and they have not won a playoff game since 2010. 2011, Jay Cutler. We
Holy
actually,
shit.
if you remember, we were there. Caleb, Cutler, because in the NFC Championship game they lost to the Packers because Caleb Haney came in. We were together for that, if you remember correctly. It was a while
Oh
ago.
my God. Yes. I
Mhm.
look, that's the last time they won a playoff
They
game?
won because they made it a couple times I think they made it one more time in the 2010s early. Lost, and then Mitchell Trubisky, which I mentioned earlier, the double doink. They lost to the Eagles. And
Yeah.
then they made it. So also the weird part is the Bears are the very first, because remember the playoffs went from 6 teams to 7 teams, and the Bears
Yeah.
were the first NFC 7th seed to make it, and they were 8-9. And I'm like, okay, I'm happy to be here. Whatever. And they lost. I forget who they lost to. Trubisky just they shit the bed.
Yeah.
The double doink kind of hurt because they could have beat the Eagles, but again, that is what it is. But the last time they won a playoff game, was when that 2010 season, 2010 to 2011, however that worked out.
Wow.
But Lovie Smith, they might have, because they might have won the following year. I forgot how they did, and then Lovie Smith. No, that's right. They went 11-5 the following year and missed the playoffs. That was you think you're 11-5 and you're making the playoffs, but they somehow missed it. A lot of good NFC teams, and Lovie got fired, and people were like, "What?" And they were like, "We're cursed," but. Yeah, so it's been about 15 years since they've won a playoff game, from what I can remember. But yeah.
Wow.
Oh.
Wow.
All right, Soto, before we go, let's have a little fun real quick.
Yes.
You're going to help me out.
All
We're
right.
going to do this. We've done this last year. I don't know how many more times. We're only going to look at the 1 o'clock games. And all I want you to do is give me a player on you don't even need to say who's going to win. Just tell me someone who's going to score a touchdown. And if you want to feel spicy, you can do a 2 touchdown pick if you think someone's going to score 2. You don't have to. I'm just saying you can.
Yeah.
All right, first game. Buffalo and Cleveland.
Buffalo and Cleveland.
Who's going to score a touchdown?
Score a touchdown, like throw a touchdown, or
No,
just
but
make
you got to
it,
either
like,
catch it or run it in. So if Josh Allen runs it in, that counts. If he throws it in, it doesn't. So if you do, yeah. So we're just talking about scoring, not throwing.
Oh God, who's that running back? He's pretty good.
James Cook.
Yeah, I would say Cook is going to score
All
a
right,
touchdown.
1 touch. Do you think he'll score 2, or are we just going to stick with 1 to be safe?
I'm gonna stick with 1 just because it's the Browns. Although their defense got exposed last game anyway.
They did.
Myles Garrett continues to have a great season though.
Tampa Bay and Carolina. Who's going to score a touchdown?
Tampa Bay and Carolina. Ooh. Tampa Bay used to have a good defense. I don't know what the hell happened. I dropped them for the Saints. Who's going to score a touchdown?
Just score a touchdown. Yeah, we don't even need to pick one. Just score a TD.
I'm going to say... Fuck. Who is it at home or away? What's the thing?
At Carolina.
At Carolina. All right,
Carolina.
so I'm going to say that. I think Mike Evans is still playing in this league, right?
He is. Mike Evans is playing.
All right, I'm gonna say he's gonna get his first touchdown back.
All right, we're going to say Mike Evans. All right. Next game. Ooh. Chargers at Cowboys.
He's gonna score a touchdown this game.
Who's going to score a touchdown?
Chargers
Or Cowboys. You can either team.
Probably Cowboys first. You know what? I'm gonna go with Pickens because that way, if he scores on my team, that I win this bet too.
Here's an interesting one. Cincinnati at Miami.
Oh my God! Well, I'm not gonna choose any for Miami because I don't know what the fucking quarterback situation is gonna be. And Chase Brown doesn't really score touchdowns these days. Jamar Chase back?
Says he's playing.
Didn't he how did they score no points last game? And why is Joe Burrow so sad?
Because they're out of the playoffs.
I'm gonna say Jamar Chase.
We're going to go with Jamar Chase? Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna go Jamar Chase.
All right. Do we have any more 1 o'clock game? Oh, we still do. All right. This one could be interesting. Kansas City at Tennessee.
Oh my god, gross.
Now, mind you, I will throw this out there just for the fun of it. You can pick
Yeah.
a defense to score a touchdown. Doesn't matter who. It's just anyway. I'm just throwing that a defense / special teams. I'm just throwing it out there. If
Oh,
again,
that's good.
if you're
Yeah,
feeling
I would
if you're feeling
rather.
spicy,
I'll go with the Kansas City D.
you
Fuck
want to
it.
go. All right, that's a
Or
big.
sad now.
That's a spicy pick. All right, the last game.
It's dude. I have to tell you, just really quick segue or a really quick
Yeah.
tangent. Really quick. So the Patriots lose, right?
Yep.
And I'm just like, whatever. And so I'm staying in there and I'm watching the next game. It switches over to the Chiefs. Literally, like the first or second play, I just watched Patrick Mahomes and then I watched the Chiefs miss the playoffs. And I looked at my dad and I'm like, at least that was nice.
Like I'm happy now.
Like I was like, all right, that's a consolation prize. I feel consoled. You know, again, not so much on his injury, but the fact that they were eliminated for the playoffs and then because Gardner Minshew was in the game. I thought that was really funny. So, anyways, I digress.
Nope, it's all right. The last game we're gonna pick from Minnesota and New York Giants. Yeah, this is another tough one.
Giants. I'm gonna go with my boy, concussion protocol, Jackson Dart.
He's gonna run in one. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Soto. Now, because I won some money,
Having
so I got
concussion.
2 point. So I'm going to do a $2.55 bet because I
Nice.
so just so you know, so
A parlay?
this is a parlay.
Oh
This
Jesus.
is fucking hilarious. All right, so Soto,
Like a
I'm going to go through this all 1 o'clock games because then we can't sell out. This is going. So first of all, the James Cook to score 90 times. James Cook to score a touchdown. Mike Evans to score a touchdown. George Pickens to score a touchdown. Jamar Chase, the Kansas City defense or special teams, and Jackson Dart. $2.55, Soto. If
$3
you
million.
oh god, no. Don't worry, not that high, but this would be a nice dinner out. If all 6 hits,
Yeah.
$1,033.35.
We're going to Louis Louis.
We're gonna go to Louis twice.
Wow.
I'll come down from the. It's in.
That's
There's
a-
nothing more we can do. Yep,
Yeah.
it's in. So that's hilarious. I'll have to keep an eye on that. You know, maybe have to try and keep an eye on that because it's also what's weird because you can cash out. So like if
Yeah.
4 or 5 hit it early, like it can be like, well, you want to cash out for $100, and I'm like, do I want to do this now? So we'll see.
Okay.
But yeah,
All right.
so that's
Cool.
week 16. I thought I figured because we might not talk sports again, we had to do one more fun parlay. Kept it simple, you know, 6 games, nothing where we're picking every game, and it all happens at the same time. So, oh,
Appreciate that.
anything else, Soto, before we end today's sports talk?
Oh man, I think we covered it all. I think we
We
hit
did.
all the bases.
Well, I don't know if we'll do it again next week being Christmas and all, but who knows? Maybe come play. Maybe you know what? We'll do this again. Playoffs. You know, once the playoffs are officially set, right before the first week, we'll talk. Give our predictions and kind of go from there. So, but Toto, good luck to you. You have a 50. Right now your
Thanks.
team is at a 50. I know you're 51-49, but 50-50 shot. So you know what?
see.
You could do it. You know, just one game at a time. That's
Yeah.
good, better, best. You know, that's what Ben Johnson says. Good, better, best.
We'll see on Saturday night. Yeah.
All right, man. And that'll do it. And until next time, just go Bears.
Yeah.